In the bustling city of Austin, Texas, where skyscrapers reached for the sky and coffee shops buzzed with life, there lived a woman named Amanda Carter. Amanda had always been the kind of woman who prided herself on being independent, strong, and modern. She had a stable job in marketing, drove a sleek SUV, and carried herself with confidence. To many, she appeared to have the perfect life, successful career, stylish wardrobe, and a husband, Michael Carter, who loved her deeply. Michael wasn't flashy. He wasn't the kind of man who lit up a room with charm or wealth. He was steady, dependable, and hard-working. A man of quiet strength who worked as an engineer for a local firm. He preferred spending his free time at home, fixing things around the house, grilling in the backyard, and watching basketball games with his friends. For a time, Amanda loved that about him. His stability gave her peace when she was younger. But as the years passed, she began to view his consistency not as a blessing, but as something dull. Amanda wanted more excitement, more thrill, more of the glamorous lifestyle she often saw on social media. She began to compare her life to the carefully curated highlight reels of others, lavish vacations, fancy dinners, weekend getaways. Soon, dissatisfaction started to seep into her heart. She convinced herself that Michael wasn't enough. The decision. One evening, after another quiet dinner at home where Michael talked about his latest project at work, Amanda stared across the table and felt a wave of frustration. She thought, "Is this it? Is this what the rest of my life will look like?" Within weeks, Amanda had made a decision. She filed for divorce, believing that leaving Michael would open the door to a brighter, more thrilling life. Michael was devastated. He sat across from her in the lawyer's office, papers on the table, disbelief in his eyes. "Amanda, are you sure about this?" he asked softly. "We've built a life together. We can work on whatever's missing." But Amanda was resolute. She had already pictured herself free, untethered, living a life others would envy. She signed the papers without hesitation. The aftermath. In the beginning, Amanda felt liberated. She rented a modern apartment downtown, decorated it with trendy furniture, and filled her weekends with outings to new restaurants, bars, and events. Friends cheered her on, telling her she was brave, independent, and finally living her best life. On social media, Amanda posted smiling selfies, brunch photos, and captions about new beginnings. The likes and supportive comments rolled in, boosting her confidence. She thought she had won. Meanwhile, Michael quietly moved on. He didn't chase her, didn't beg her to come back. He poured his energy into his work, reconnected with his family, and started attending a men's fitness group at the local gym. Over time, he grew stronger, more confident, and more at peace with himself. What Amanda didn't know was that Michael's steady nature, once overlooked by her, was exactly what drew people to him. His colleagues admired his reliability, and his new fitness community respected his discipline. Slowly, without trying, Michael's life blossomed in ways Amanda hadn't expected. The cracks began to show. At first, Amanda enjoyed the single life. But soon, cracks began to show. The brunch invitations slowed down. Friends became busier with their own lives, relationships, and families. The flashy apartment felt empty when she returned home alone at night. Bills piled up. Amanda realized that splitting expenses with Michael had made life much easier. Now, every payment came directly out of her pocket: rent, car payments, groceries, utilities. Despite her decent salary, she felt the financial strain. She began dating again, hoping to fill the void. But the men she met were nothing like Michael. Some were charming but unreliable. Others were exciting but careless. A few simply weren't interested in a serious relationship. The dating scene, she quickly learned, was far from the glamorous adventure she imagined. One evening, Amanda scrolled through her social media feed and stopped on a photo. It was Michael, smiling, standing next to a woman at a charity event. She was elegant, graceful, and radiant. They looked genuinely happy. Amanda's heart sank. Realization. Suddenly, memories of Michael flooded back. The way he always made sure her car had gas before a long trip. How he fixed things around the house without complaint. The nights he stayed up with her when she was sick. His quiet but unwavering support during her toughest days at work. She realized she had traded stability, love, and loyalty for fleeting excitement that had already burned out. Amanda tried to ignore the growing ache in her chest, but it lingered. Weeks later, she ran into Michael by chance at a grocery store. He was polite, kind, but distant. The woman from the photo was with him, and Amanda saw how he smiled at her in a way he hadn't smiled at Amanda in years. It was then Amanda understood. Michael had moved on. The consequences. Life didn't get easier for Amanda. The loneliness grew heavier. She found herself working longer hours to distract from the emptiness. Nights were spent staring at her ceiling, replaying her choices in her mind. Meanwhile, Michael's new relationship blossomed. He and his new partner traveled together, hosted friends at home, and built a life that Amanda had once taken for granted. Amanda wasn't ruined. She still had her job, her apartment, and her independence. But she carried a quiet regret that no amount of brunches or selfies could erase. She had chosen the path of divorce, believing it would lead to happiness. Instead, it led her to realize that the life she once dismissed was far more valuable than she ever understood. Closing reflection. Amanda's story isn't about punishment, it's about choices. She thought freedom meant leaving behind stability, but discovered too late that true happiness doesn't come from fleeting thrills or external validation. It comes from appreciating the people who genuinely love and support you. Her journey is a reminder that decisions carry consequences, and sometimes the life we think is boring is actually the life that holds the deepest joy.